Am I the asshole for not waking my partner up and causing him to miss a family trip? My 26F and my partner 28M have 5 daughters, 7, 6, 4, 3 and 5 months. For a long time there's been an issue with him getting up to help with the kids of a morning. He thinks he should be able to sleep in on his days off work, while I think he should get up when the kids and I do, or we should at least be alternating who lies in a bit. We've been seeing a therapist who has mentioned he should be helping more in the mornings. Recently we had a family trip planned to the zoo with both of our parents, our sisters and their kids. Previously when we've gone out for the day I've needed to shake my partner awake several times, and he lies in bed while I get the kids ready. He'll finally get up 5 minutes before we leave as I shout at him I'm getting in the car. I've mentioned to him that this is very frustrating as it's a lot of work getting the kids ready to go out, and it's not fair to leave it up to me while he lies on bed. He'd apologize and promise that the next time he'd get up and help. The night before the trip I told him I'd need him to be awake at 6:30 a.m. so we could get everyone ready to leave by 8 a.m. He said he'd set an alarm and we went to bed. My alarm went off at 6:30 a.m. and I got up, while my partner kept sleeping. I decided I wasn't going to wake him this time and continued getting the kids ready. At 8 a.m. he was still sleeping, so I loaded the kids in the car and we set off. We arrived at the zoo at 9:30 a.m., and his family asked where he was. I mentioned he was still in bed and chose not to come. At 10:15 a.m. I got a phone call from him asking where everyone was. I said we went to the zoo as planned, and I waited for him to get up but he never did. He got really mad and told me that I should have woken him up like I always do, and I caused him to miss the trip. He then called his mum and complained to her, who yelled at me in the middle of the zoo that I was being unfair and I should have given him a shake to let him know he needed to get up, and that I was about to leave. My mother jumped in and said it wasn't my responsibility to get him out of bed, and he needed to take responsibility for himself. A few more words were exchanged and his family stalked off for the rest of the trip. I had a blast with my kids, parents, sister, and my nephews. When we got home my partner started on me again about how I should have woken him up. So am I the asshole so not waking him up and going without him? A few things have come up I want to clarify. He wasn't always like this. When the oldest 2 were little he was always up with them. He even get up before anyone else to cook breakfast before going off to work. We had to move in with his parents at one point and that's where things started to change. His family are incredibly misogynistic. Dad works then comes home, watches TV and drink beer while his mum does everything else, including getting him up for work etc. These beliefs seems to have rubbed off on him, and his mum is very quick to tell him something is the woman's job. He's seeing a therapist independently who has suggested some form of depression. He's generally pretty good otherwise. He will help with dinner, cleaning, putting the kids to bed etc. He's not entirely useless. Getting out of bed in the morning is a long-standing issue though. He has a vasectomy after baby number 4, which turned out to be incomplete. I had a hysterectomy. Not the asshole. I taught my daughter that she was responsible for getting herself up for HS, and if she missed the bus I wasn't going to drive her. She never missed the bus. Not the asshole. 1. Your husband takes you for granted. He has no intention of helping you and knows you'll always take care of the kids. He seems to think parenting has a day off when it never really does and he has to share responsibility. 2. He is clearly encouraged by his mother. Her yelling at you instead of him shows me she's the type to excuse his behavior and let her, poor son, rest and leave it to the wife. Be firm with him. Do not apologize and make sure you set rules in the future where either you both wake up or take turns or else him missing out will continue in the future and you're done waking him up for his kids. Women being expected to wake their husbands is a problem common enough that we get like a post a week about it here. The answer is always the same. Raise your kids, not your husband. Also, whenever a man feels the need to run to his mommy when his wife isn't coddling him, there's a problem in the marriage that needs focus. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. The only way to stop enabling someone is to stop. You did and I hope you keep it up. Not the asshole. You get yourself and 5 children up and out of the house without this asshole bothering to get himself up and out? His mom's enabling is what got him here doing jack shit for 7+ years, but you owe it to yourself and your daughters to stop raising him. He needs to sort himself out ASAP and get himself into intensive therapy to figure out how he could be so ridiculously incompetent as an adult and parent. Not the asshole. But isn't your day off too? You have 5 daughters, you need help. He isn't helping you. It feel like you're a single parent in the morning. I wouldn't wish you that. Am I the asshole for taking multiple containers of formula out of a couple's cart due to the formula shortage? 26 female if that matters. My husband and I just had our first child last month. I haven't been able to find formula anywhere. He's on a sensitive brand of formula due to the fact that I wasn't producing enough milk to feed him. Last week I drove 2 hours to another store just to get some of his formula. The shortage has been very exhausting and stressful to deal with, so when I finally say that my local store had some in stock, I immediately rushed over. When I get to the aisle, I saw an older couple taking some formula off the shelf. The aisle was small, so I just waited patiently. I realized they weren't stopping, and eventually they had about 40 cans of formula in their cart, emptying the shelf. I spoke up, asking if I could have just about 4 cans for my newborn at home. The husband scowled at me, and they started pushing their cart away. I said excuse me, and that they couldn't just take all the formula when I clearly needed it as well. They said they got there first, and that they had twins to feed. So basically not their problem. I was stressed and furious at this point, so I cut in front of their cart and started grabbing a few cans. I figured, they hadn't paid for any of this, so why not? I wasn't gonna let my baby go hungry because they wanted to grab all the formula. Obviously they weren't happy about this and started yelling all sorts of stuff at me, but I quickly made my exit. They called me selfish, asshole, etc. A manager came up to me as I was checking out and said that next time I should get assistance instead of grabbing it. He explained there was a limit and they wouldn't have been able to buy it all anyways. I feel justified, sorta, in my actions, but I'm not sure if that was totally correct. Am I the asshole? You know, sometimes the question isn't if you're the asshole, it's that it's not always morally wrong to be ta. Edit. Not the asshole. Not the asshole and dollars to donuts that older couple don't have kids and we're going to sell it online at a massively inflated price. People like that should be named and shamed publicly. Not the asshole. Your actions were not the best actions. But you didn't know there was a purchase limit, so I understand why you felt the need to do it. Technically, it is not illegal to take something out of another person's cart. While it wasn't good form and you should get the store manager involved next time, so they can take the heat. I can't condemn someone as an asshole for taking a couple cans of formula from a giant hoard of it to feed their baby. Not the asshole. People that stock up like that are definitely part of the problem and reason for this formula shortage. I understand 2 babies need more formula than 1 baby, but you wouldn't buy 20 cans at a time for 1 baby, so there isn't a reason to buy 40 at once for 2 babies. I'm willing to bet they are just reselling it at a higher price and don't actually have any kids. Edit. Since I was unclear earlier in this comment, I just mean that people stocking up this many cans are making the formula shortage worse. I'm well aware that an entire formula-making plant was shut down due to recall. But you get a justified verdict. People who hoard supplies during a crisis are awful. Next time get an employee or manager. Not the asshole. I have a 3-month-old. Thankfully we only supplement with formula as I also breastfeed, pump. If you didn't know about the limit, in my opinion you're within your mama bear rights. Even twins don't need 40 canisters at once during a shortage. That's inexcusable. If you had known, sure, grabbing an employee would have been proper, but I see no issue in your actions. Am I the asshole for using a high, effeminate voice to compliment a girl when her mom was stressing her out? Throwaway. Nobody knows my Reddit, but this is embarrassing either way. I'm 18 male and I was with my girlfriend Grace, 18 female. She told me she wanted to go look for some clothes for summer, so I said I'd take her to Marshall's and stuff and we'd get lunch. I was browsing the guy stuff and I didn't really find too much I liked because everything was just gym clothes, so I went by the dressing rooms because Grace was inside trying on outfits. I could hear this older woman kinda being really mean to this girl who I was guessing was my sister's age, like 12 or 13. The woman was saying stuff like, "That outfit is too slutty," and, "That doesn't fit. Get off your ass instead sitting in front of your phone all day, it could fit," and then a bunch of stuff like that. I felt really bad for the girl, especially when they came out and her face was all cloudy and she looked like she was gonna cry. I don't know why I did what I did next. I popped my hip out and kind of yelled, "Girllll, where did you get that top from? You are a hole. Look." And I did some weird shit with my hand and went, "Ughhh, I wish I had hair like that, slay baby girl." IDK, it was just the first thing I could think of to say. The girl kind of giggled and did that thing girls do where they're kind of embarrassed but really proud at the same time. The mom had this, "who the fuck," look on her face. Then I saw behind them Grace had come out too, and she was standing there with her mouth hanging open and she was mouthing, "What the fuck," at me with big eyes. I just grabbed like a bottle of skincare IDK and speedwalked out of there. Grace came after me and was like, "What were you doing?" I tried to explain to her what the mom was saying to that girl was mean, and Grace said she heard them too and she was shocked I said something, but then she said that putting on that voice and saying those things was kind of fucked up and it felt wrong to her. I tried to tell her that I think I did it because I didn't want the mom to think I was a creep trying to be weird at her daughter, but she just said it was weird and to not do it again. She isn't like mad at me or anything, but I am kind of curious if am I the asshole or not for doing the voice. Not the asshole. You weren't doing it to mock gay people or pretend you're gay. You were doing it to make a young girl feel better about herself after her own mom tore her down. Not the asshole. You cheered up that girl a lot. Trust me, she will remember that. I guess your girlfriend does not like the effeminate, or gay, voice you used because you are her straight, sorry for assuming so, boyfriend. TBH, it gives me some homophobic vibes from her side. Not the asshole. Your older, protective brother mode kicked in and you wanted to help the girl out. Sounds like you were amazing. I'm gay and I'd definitely forgive you for that. Not the asshole. Your intentions on doing it were genuine, and I agree it would have been creepy to compliment a minor as a straight man. I'd have been struggling not to laugh if I walked out on one of my friends being that type of hero. Tears of joy. Not the asshole. I think that little girl will remember you. What it felt like to be lifted up, and hopefully choose to be around people who behave more like you did than her own mother in that moment. When I was in an abusive situation, hearing someone care about me for all of 10 seconds helped me remember what it could be like. Keep sending out these jolts of kindness. Maybe you'll save someone one day. And if embarrassing yourself is how to do it without getting slapped in the face, go for it, rolling on the floor laughing. Am I the asshole for telling people why I stopped seeing our friend? A few years ago, I, 23F, survived an accident that took my arm, my eye, and mangled half my face. I know I wasn't particularly pretty to begin with, but it left me feeling at my lowest. What hurt is that my now ex-friend, Luca, 24FTM, asked me to cover up my scars and the stump because it made him feel nauseous looking at me. That day I went home crying. If he couldn't stand to see me like that, how could I? After that, I cut off ties with him. Not once did he see me in the hospital or call me up to see how I was doing. And the one time he sees me after the incident, it's to ask that I do something about my scars. Well, I wish I could say that was the last time. But every time since then, every time we're in the same room, he's always commenting on my face and how I look terrible. No shit, Sherlock. Lucas is having a party next weekend and I found out when our mutual asked if I was going. I told them that I wasn't because of what happened and how my face grosses him out now. He just called me to yell at me for telling everyone about it. Apparently several people we know got wind of what happened and decided not to attend. He thinks I'm making him out to be an asshole even though he wants to celebrate his surgery. I feel for him, but I can't forget what he said. What he said still hurts. Am I the asshole for telling friends why I don't hang out with Lucas anymore? Not the asshole. You told the truth about someone's shitty behavior. If they didn't want people judging them for behaving badly, they shouldn't act that way. You didn't ask people not to attend his party. That's not on you. He is the biggest fucking asshole. Accidents can happen to anyone. As a friend, I would just be so thankful you survived. Let him be seen for what he is. Not the asshole. I'm so sorry you went through that. You're not the asshole for telling the truth, and he's the asshole for being so cruel to you. Although your outwardly appearance may have changed, you're still you, and no one deserves to be called gross for something outside of their control. If your mutual friends are mad at him, good. Not the asshole. He's reaping what he's sown. I'm hoping you're in an active therapy program as well. I have a very good friend that was similarly injured in Iraq and was in a very bad place for a long time. His wife and I finally managed to get him into a pretty intensive program, and he's still with us today and in a much better headspace. Not the asshole. Oh my god, op. I'm so sorry for both your accident and your terrible friend. Good riddance. I get that body mutilation can be a very frightening or jarring thing to look at or see. That's understandable. What's not understandable is telling your friend, who's went through something traumatic to cause that to happen, that they're disgusting or gross or anything even remotely close to that. He showed his true colors by not even bothering to check on you. You can call someone every day and never see them. You didn't cause your real friends to do anything. You just told the truth, and they're sticking up for you. Not the asshole. I am also FTM and I understand how it feels to be seen as ugly and nauseating by others. Luca has either lived a very sheltered life and has no point of reference, or he is taking his own insecurities out on you, which is frankly gross. Good on you for getting this dude out of your life, and good on your mutuals for refusing to see him now that they know he was being awful to you.